for deer?
That's for climbing, for cucumbers and stuff to climb on.
Hello, how are you?
Conferences with them to learn how they did that, and that's what Karen Moskowitz and New Roots is following, that model that we learned about from a guy named Small.
Maurice Small.
Up in Cleveland. Very dynamic fella.
He'll be hosting us there in Cleveland for a couple days, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Do you know him? Yeah.
We made an agreement. I mean, this church is a small, like many churches, this Baptist church has a small congregation, a lot of land, and we made a partnership with that church, and
it was you just knew that they had this space?
I think it wasn't me who did the original connection with this church. It was the one who wrote the grant, Sherry Stanley. But they wanted to do it as a ministry, an outreach ministry, to have some of this land made use of. So we pay them a certain amount of money for the use of the land, plus we pay for the water. And then we may start soon providing food to their food pantries twice a month for the homeless and other people who need food. Come for canned foods, but they like some fresh produce as well. Very, very good. Like this project is one of my favorite things to do. It's I was called in after the first year of this project. It was a grant written by the Kentucky Office for Refugees to help refugees with agricultural backgrounds get access to land and so they can grow food, with the idea of eventually some of them maybe actually going into becoming farmers eventually. So this is the third year of the program. We started out with they started out the first year and they had problems because they had never done a program like this, and there were many challenges to such a program. First of all, finding the land. Second of all, training people who are used to tropical agriculture how to grow stuff in this climate and this different conditions, especially with the language barriers. People were struggling when they get here in many respects. They have a few months where they have aid to pay their rent, but after that they have to get jobs. So time-wise, they don't have much time to do it either. So the program had a lot of challenges. They tried training people in giant training sessions with like 70 people speaking like 10 different languages, and that didn't work too well. So I came in, they asked for my help to kind of design the program a little bit. And I've been working, this is my second year working with the program. And I guess because I know a little bit of language and I've been in some different cultures, I'm able to have a rapport with the people even if we can't speak the same languages. So it's been a great joy to me. I come out here and I'm no longer in the United States. I'm farming in Somalia, I'm farming in Bhutan, I'm squatting by the edge I'm squatting with some of my friends, smoking a homemade stogie and chewing betel nut and all kinds of fun stuff. So this year, this plot here, this is all newly tilled ground. We had only about a third of the land that you see here under cultivation last year, and we more than doubled the area. And we're able to bring in an additional, from 15 families, we went to 42 families out here. We found this arrangement the most congenial for the refugees, but unfortunately not all the refugees live close enough to be able to come here. So we have another plot on the southwest side of Louisville. It's an official county community garden. And we have 25 plots there, about 25 families there, mostly because they live in that area and they can walk or bike much closer. It's not a very congenial place because the old-timers of that garden, the Anglos and the local folks, some of them didn't want to see all these Africans with children running around and stuff like that. So there's been a little conflicts with the folks over there, and the manager also once called the police on some of our refugees because they all look alike. Had them handcuffed, and I got called from far away and had to deal with this situation. But so we were trying to get everyone to shift over here, but because people lived closer to that, not all of them could shift, and a lot of them produce a lot of the food. They're on hard times financially, a lot of unemployment, and this food source for them is huge. Not only just for having enough food to eat, but to eat the kinds of foods that people have grown and used in their own country. I think that's one of the culture shocks coming here. You go to the supermarket, you can't find the ingredients that you need to grow your traditional foods. But if you grow your own food, you know that's that's what you do. You're a farmer, you're a peasant. You know how to turn that food into the kind of meals that you are culturally accustomed to. So, we have this section is mostly Karen people, about 15 families. Then we have a section in the middle that's Burundians and Congolese mostly. And then on the far end we have Nepalese from Bhutan. The Nepalese were driven out of Bhutan like an ethnic conflict thing. The Buddhists going after the Hindus. But what's been fun is just figuring out how to administer or support the refugees to grow the crops out here. And what we did was we have water that comes from a hose all the way out from that building. We did find some of these water tanks, 1,000-gallon water tanks that we fill up periodically. That way we can have 3 sources of water. 42 families, 1 hose is not enough. Okay? So people bring their buckets and they use them for watering. We haven't had to do much watering yet because of the good rains.
Have you ever approached the city about installing water taps?
Well, we could bring a main out. The ideal thing would be to bring a main out and then get a separate meter for it.
Yeah.
Have it on an agricultural meter, which is half as expensive because you don't pay for sewage. But that would cost at least $5,000, so we just didn't have a budget line for it.
And there's no precedence for trying to work with like the mayor and.
Yeah, the mayor talks a lot about wanting to support agriculture, but we've approached in other capacities this education, what we call the economic development department of the city, without much results. It's like pulling teeth. And they have a budget crisis too. So anyway, this is one. Then there's a third plot. Ugali, would require to grind it.
That would be a good.
Yeah, I think we did 2 canning workshops last year because a lot of people lost a lot of tomatoes. The first year they had a lot of tomatoes, and they didn't have a market for them much. So a lot of tomatoes, they couldn't eat them. So we did a canning workshop in that kitchen over there. I led the workshops in canning, and we have like 4 pressure canners that we lend out to groups when they want to can.
When did you buy the bottles?
We bought some starters. We bought 2 cases.